So, good evening, everybody. My name is Lilian, and I'm here tonight to share my story on how I traded for travel. Beginning of 2015, I wanted to get away. I felt a little bit stuck in the vicious cycle of having to earn money to pay the bills, as many of you might know. And I felt I needed a job to earn a living, but that my life only started after working hours. So I decided to quit my job, emptied my place in Amsterdam, and sold most of my belongings and traded it for a backpack filled with paper, pencils, and paint. And I took my guitar and set off for Myanmar. Initially, I'd saved up enough money for maybe about 6 months of travel in Southeast Asia. And I ended up spending 13 months on the road. And actually, I could have gone on until today, because what made all the difference was that I had something else to bring to the table than just money. I discovered I had a skill that I could trade, which was creativity. And this I discovered like naturally, so I didn't know it at first. It all started with passion. Right before I left traveling, I'd rediscovered my passion for drawing. I was not at all in a creative career before. And yeah, I took my sketchbook with me, and everywhere I went, I was doodling my travel adventures, and I would post these drawings online on a website for people at home to follow. But soon I wanted more, and I noticed that in Southeast Asia, most of the guest houses had like really poorly hand-lettered signboards with lots of spelling mistakes in English. And as I had some experience in that, I just couldn't sit still, and I spontaneously offered my services. And by spending time with people, the opportunities actually naturally arise. And as before I know it, I was just painting them some signs, and they would offer me meals and accommodation instead. And so naturally, I discovered that this was a skill that I could trade for travel. The first guest house that accepted my offer was a family-run place in Cambodia. And as soon as I was drawing them some signboards, I immediately became part of their family. We shared meals, we had conversations, I got to know them a little bit better. And I just found this new way of connecting to Cambodian people, and it made it so much more interesting. But it got even better, because then the next offer was a beach resort on a beautiful, pristine island in Cambodia. And they said, well, we actually need somebody to make the decorations for all of our bungalows, so why don't you come 2 months and we'll give you this beautiful bungalow on the beach. So I spent 2 months on this island walking barefoot every day and yeah, falling asleep and waking up to the sounds of the waves. I'm sorry, it was really like this. And I thought, wow, maybe this is worth more than I dare to think. And I started hopping from guest house to guest house, and one gig followed another. And sometimes I would come across a yoga and meditation center, and I was also able to trade it for retreat programs, and it got a lot of fun. And at one point, I found myself in a stray animal recovery center in India, and there they asked whether I could paint them the entrance gate. And they wanted a picture of the god Krishna tending a cow, because that would communicate what this center was doing to the local villagers. So while I was painting the door, all of these villagers started engaging with me, and yeah, they started talking about what this place was actually doing. So a few weeks later, I received an email from the founder saying, well, thank you for that awesome painting on the entrance gate. And by the way, today somebody walked in, asked what we were actually doing, and decided to donate $100 for our project, which is like great medical care for stray animals. So yeah, this email brightened up my day, because I know it's like very small and simple. Sign painting is obviously not rescuing orphans, I know. But since it was just a small gesture and it was my way of contributing to something, and I noticed that, yeah, you can always make a difference, even if it's small. Another thing that also really triggered for me this way of traveling was that I noticed that people around me felt inspired as well when they saw me painting or they looked at my drawings. And it would happen every now and then that a few months later I would get an email with pictures. Hey, look what I draw. I just got out my sketchbook and pencils, because when I looked at your work, I thought that was a long time ago and I should go back drawing again. And this is just great, you know, to see that other people rediscover the joy of creative expression as well. So after a while, I was doing that for more than a year, and I realized, what is it making so comfortable to live like this? And for me, the key is that I wasn't worrying about money anymore. Since I was able to trade my skills and I had everything I basically needed, I was just not worrying about money. And by keeping money out of the relations, the social relationships, I also engaged entirely different with the people around me. And it was just a much more natural way of being, and it released a lot of freedom, and this was translated into creative expression again. So I set off, I took off from my country to discover again what my passion was and what I actually felt like doing in life, since I was a little bit stuck in my professional life. And after a year, I draw the conclusion, well, I think I'm meant to draw and paint because I like this so much, and yeah, it brings me so much. And it was time for me to embark on the next stage of that. So I returned back to the Netherlands to establish myself here as a professional illustrator and sign painter. And the reason I came here on stage to share this story with you is because a lot of people, they will ask me like, yeah, how did you do that? Like, I don't get it. Or I wish I did it too, but yeah, this job, and I'm afraid that, and if not, my house, and stuck, yada, yada. But actually, I really think if you really want to do something like that, there's always a way. Just try not to think about money and look at everything else you have, because everyone has something to contribute, and it's of value as well. And as long as you're willing to share and give and offer that just without fear, I believe that everything you need will come back to you. So yeah, that's my story. And if you're interested in reading a little bit more about it, here's my website, where you can find more than 100 illustrations that I made about my travel. Thank you for your attention.